In this lesson, we're going to talk about measurement. Specifically, we'll understand perimeter area and volume, we'll calculate the perimeter area and volume of certain objects, and then we'll learn to write our answers using appropriate units. First, a little background on measurement. Some practical ways that it could apply is if you're sending a package, the cost is usually dependent on the dimensions, so how long, wide, tall it is, and the weight, which are units of measurement. If you're going to put a fence around a garden or put a fence around a yard, whatever you can think of, you'll need to know how much material you need. Same thing, and if you decide to fill that garden with mulch, that's a unit of volume, or tiling a floor. So understanding measurement in the project at hand could help you save time and money or even price compare. So first we'll talk about perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of an object and it's one dimensional. So for instance, pretend I have a yard here, and I probably should have given it some green grass or something on the inside, and I have a cat that's walking around the fence of the yard. Okay, so as the cat walks, it's going around the perimeter. So as my cat walks, it's perimeter. Okay, so think of a cat walking around a fence or walking around the outside of something. Okay, and as my cat is walking, for instance, let's say the yard is 5 meters by 3 meters by 5 meters by 3 meters. Okay, the length and the width, so length and width. And as the cat walks and says perimeter, the cat is going to go 5 meters, 3 meters, 5 meters, 3 meters. So the perimeter is all of those lengths added up together. If you add them or use a calculator, you would get 16 meters. Okay, and it's just meters because when we add meters to meters to meters to meters, our units become meters. Example, calculate the perimeter, use the correct units in your answer. So a rectangular yard that has length 6 feet and width 8 feet. So it's wider than it is long, I suppose. Not drawn to scale, 8 feet, 6 feet, and perimeter is the distance around the outside of the object. So for this problem, we would add 6 feet plus 8 feet plus 6 feet plus 8 feet to come up with 28 feet. Okay, so that would be our answer for part A. For part B, a right triangle that has side lengths 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. So I'm going to draw a right triangle as a visual. Then we have 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters. And I know we haven't talked about a formula or anything like that. Perimeter, think of it as adding up the sides of the object. So in this case, we'd have 3 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus 5 centimeters would give us 12 centimeters total. Next, area. So area is the coverage inside of an object and it's two-dimensional. So back to my yard, my dog is there. Okay, so area is the coverage in here. So as the cat's walking around and saying perimeter, the dog is barking saying aria. Doesn't work as well, but maybe it'll help you remember. Okay, so when we talk about area, it's two-dimensional, and I'll show you why. For instance, let's say we have length 4 feet and width 2 feet. So I'm going to put 4 feet and 2 feet. And let's say I divide this up into 1 foot segments to get 4. So length is 4. So this is 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then width is 2 feet, so I can divide it right in half. And this is 1 and 1, okay? So now what I've essentially created is a foot by foot square. This is where the term square feet comes from, or that's why area units are always squared, because you can do this with meters, centimeters, whatever unit you have. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our answer here would be 8 feet squared. There's 8 square foots or feet that have been squared. Okay. The other way you might have learned this is to do, let me switch colors here. 4 feet times 2 feet. Okay, you're multiplying your numbers, so 4 times 2 is 8, and feet times feet is feet squared or square feet. Either will work. So you get the same whether you visualize it or whether you multiply. Couple of formulas to know. The area of a rectangle, area is length times width. For a triangle, if you're interested in knowing why, I'm happy to share that with you, is 1/2 times the base of the triangle times the height, or base times height divided by 2. Okay, and we'll label our objects. So with the rectangle, we have the length and the width. With the triangle, the bottom is usually the base, and the height will be given to you. You won't necessarily be expected to calculate the height, but it intersects the base at a 90-degree angle. So you would take the base times the height and divide it by 2. Example, calculate the area, use appropriate units in your answer. So first, a rectangle that has length 6 centimeters and width 3 centimeters. 6 centimeters, 3 centimeters. You can square this off into 1 centimeter chunks and count it out that way. It's harder for me to draw accurately dividing by 6 and dividing by 3. So I am going to multiply. This would be 6 centimeters times 3 centimeters. And if I write this out, grouping times centimeters, this would give us 18, and then centimeters squared would be your answer for part A. For part B, for the triangle below, it gave us the height and the base. So this is 1/2 times the base times the height, or base times height divided by 2. If you're going to use your calculator, you would put it in exactly as you see it. So you'd do 1/2 and your calculator times 12 times 5. Okay, I would just make sure you hit enter after you put the 1/2 so it does the fraction, and then multiply the numbers after that. And this would be 30 inches squared. Okay, 12 times 5 is 60, divided by 2 is 30. Next, we'll talk about volume, so the amount of space an object occupies. So if you ordered any books online, or if you order from Amazon, the space inside the box is the volume, or I have a picture of a beach ball. The amount of air in a beach ball would be measured in unit of volume, and volume is 3-dimensional. So find the volume of a box that's 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 3 inches tall. So if we label our box, we have the length of the box. Oh, this notation here, these quotation marks mean inches. And then we have 8 inches wide and 3 inches tall. So in order to find volume, if it's of a box or a rectangular prism, you multiply everything. So 12 inches times 8 inches times 3 inches. And this would give us 12 times 8 times 3 is 288. And we have inches times inches times inches, which is inches cubed, which is why it's called 3-dimensional. Okay, application. Determine whether perimeter or area would be used to solve the problem concerning the measurement of quantity. So paint needed for a wall. When you're painting a wall, you're covering the entire wall, not just the outside, and your wall is not 3-dimensional. So in this case, it would be area. Fencing needed for a cattle farm. Lots of these where I grew up. So the fencing goes around the outside. Okay, so around the outside is perimeter. Fake grass needed for a backyard. So if you picture a backyard and you're covering it with grass, this is an example of area. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.